What's up, everybody? Darkside 380. Please give me a like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Tonight I am going to be talking about some of the darkest secrets, or some of the darkest secrets I think that the Vatican holds. You probably know of a lot of them. Some of them you might not know. But anyways, let's get into it. The first thing I want to talk about is how the Vatican, basically in World War II, didn't intervene, didn't say anything, actually ended up profiting off of that war, because what they were doing was taking the stuff that was belonged to these Jewish people that were being condemned to death and smuggling them into other countries, which I don't know about anybody else. I mean, that is just truly evil. And, this is coming from, the head of the Catholic Church. They didn't step in, didn't intervene, didn't do anything to de-escalate anything about the war. Actually, and then at the end of the war, they even helped smuggle some of the people out there, some of these top Nazi war criminals. They helped them escape to South America. Now, I mean, that just blows my mind, but hey, it's one of many dark things that the Vatican just said, oh, not us. Other thing I want to talk about is the Rwanda genocide that happened back in 1994, where I believe, hold on for a second, it was the Tutu tribe, or the people of just put it this way, the Tutu people were being killed and just massacred. And actually, this is when the Catholic Church was really involved in Rwanda, and a lot of, these Islamic people, or, whatever their beliefs were converting into Christianity or Catholicism. So during this whole genocide, one of the things that one of these priests did was he took, people were coming to these churches, hey, we need help. Like, the whole country was basically against the Tutu tribe, the Tutu people. And so, of course, the first place they ran was to, a church. Hey, I need safety, blah, blah, blah. Well, these nuns and these priests were actually helping hunt down the Tutu people. And one pastor actually had I believe the number was around 2,000 people came to his church and were asking for help. Hey, and so what this pastor did was he went on and put a lock on it and, went on and set the church on fire. And, I mean, to me, it's mind-blowing. I mean, these people are they're crazy. I mean, I think I look a little out there, but, I mean, these people's hearts are as black as night. It blows my mind that, these are the people that are head of Catholicism. The Pope is, if you notice, everybody comes and kisses his hand, so, us, humankind, or, us regular people, we look up to the Pope because he's supposed to be anointed by God, same with all the people in the Vatican. These are supposed to be people that are handpicked by God, and definitely not handpicked. Another thing I want to talk about was how, one of the biggest things that I've always been against is these priests and, what they do to children. Instead of just taking these priests, pressing charges on them, stripping them of all their titles, being a part of the church or anything. The only thing the Catholic Church does is, well, you didn't work out there, we're going to put you here. And, where in the world do they do that at? Like, I mean, I'm at a loss of words for that one, because anywhere else in the world, you get accused of a crime and, you're going to court and all this stuff. I guess for a Catholic priest, not really. We'll go on and brush this over, go on and move you somewhere else, I'm not saying all Catholic priests are bad or anything like that. I don't believe, you can't look at everybody as a whole, I mean, there's a few bad seeds, there's a lot of great seeds, but, a lot of the stuff that is handed down from the Pope, I don't agree with, Another good example, the Pope, the Vatican, profited a ton off of Elton John's movie, Rocket Man, which is basically about him finding his husband. And, everybody knows Elton John is, openly gay, been openly gay since I was a kid, and I'm almost 40 years old. And, they profit off this movie, but then on the other hand, condemn the LGBTQ community and, say it's not right, you're going to hell, blah, blah, blah. And I won't get into that whole conversation because it's not for me to judge somebody. But, I mean, like I said earlier, where do they do that at? Like, you profit off something and then you go on and condemn it on the other hand. That's just wild to me. And, there's also like the Apocrypha books that are the 13 missing books of the Bible. One that I've actually happened to read a little bit is the book of Enoch. And it talks about, these Nephilim, fallen angels coming down and teaching us, like the art of war, the art of jewelry making, and just all this different stuff that, doesn't fit the narrative that Catholicism follows, a lot of supposedly in these books and stuff that they have, and there are 53 miles of archives, kind of discredit the church, supposedly. Also in these vaults, they have, supposedly, they have proof of extraterrestrials. They have heard something even crazier, like, Satan's throne's there. They also have, what is it called? The Grimoire, which I don't know if anybody else knows, the Lesser Keys of Solomon, and those grimoires. Grimoires are basically like a witch's book. It tells you different rituals, how to start them, how to go about them, and how to call these entities up. And it's just a truly evil book, I mean, I think there's a balance of light and darkness in the world, but that's just another thing. There's also the case of the duplicit orphans. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Duplicit orphans. So basically, the mothers of these children were, down bad. They were either unwed or, just financially couldn't support having a child. So these people from the Catholic Church basically, hey, we'll go on and raise your kids, just put them in the orphanage, blah, blah, blah. Well, with a lot of these like orphanages, boys' homes, all this kind of stuff, the system's pretty screwed up because, like, say you take a kid in and, I mean, you're given a certain amount of money. I believe it's the same way with adoption. I don't really know, so don't quote me on that. But that you're given a certain amount of money to, board these kids. Well, I guess, in this, they found like a loophole to, basically said that these kids had severe mental disorders, and that, if they had these severe mental disorders, then hey, we can go on and get, versus $1 a day, we can get $2.75 a day. So, all these kids are getting misdiagnosed with all these crazy things. And this is when like electroshock therapy was around, lobotomies, and like, electroshock therapy on a child. Like, this is wild to me. Like, I'm sorry, it just blows my mind that, like, this is the Vatican. These are the people that are supposed to be like, the most godly people on earth, these great people, and like are just filthy, money hungry, terrible people that don't care about you. Just care about more money to them. How can they make more money? And, the sad part in all this is, so there was a, they went to court over, this orphanage, and the victims were only given $1,000 for every year that they were in this orphanage. Now, come on. I mean, for a lifetime of damage, here's $5,000. What? Come on, man. Nah. And this is another one of my favorite things. So, as a lot of people know, the Vatican has a huge obelisk. The big, looks like a, probably about that wide. That's wider than that. I'll actually have a picture for you guys of what it is. That was actually stolen by the Romans from the Egyptians, and is one of the oldest obelisks around. Like, it's the only one from Roman times that's still standing. And, they don't really know how they got it. That, again, is kind of shrouded in mystery, like most of the stuff they do. But, yeah, I mean, it's just crazy to me that, these are people that are in charge of basically what our churches do and everything else. And, I mean, it just blows my mind. Another thing that is heavily talked about that's in the Vatican is this thing called the chronovisor, which it's like a time machine, but from my understanding, it won't let you actually go back in time, but it will let you see back in time. So supposedly they were able to use this to go on and see the death of Christ and all that kind of stuff, and like basically kind of check, to see how our history records actually match up to the real thing. Once again, this is something that is, all conspiracy theory. There is no facts there on if this is actually true or not. So, yeah, man. Thought I'd share some of this stuff with you guys, man. It's just crazy to me that, wow, great people to be in our church. Anyways, one more thing that I couldn't forget about talking about was the resurrection piece that they have at the Vatican. I don't know if anybody's seen it. I'll have a picture of that also. This is supposed to be the resurrection. I mean, bro, that don't look like a resurrection to me. It looks like a bunch of demons coming out of the floor and all kinds of crazy stuff. Like, what? Really? Resurrection? Yeah. And let's talk about that little weird snake ceremony room that they have for no reason. I mean, really, you had to make a ceremony room in the form of a snake? That doesn't just scream Luciferian craziness? Anyways, man, thank you guys for tuning in. Peace.